Welcome to the My Creative Days podcast, where we will talk about all things DIY, home decor, decorating tips, and creating a beautiful home on a budget. I am hoping our time together will spark a creative idea, help you plan your next DIY, or inspire you to finally tackle that project you keep putting off. Grab your favorite cup of motivation and let's chat. So I thought it would be fitting for episode 1 of this podcast to talk about how this all came about and how I got started doing what I do now with my website at mycreativedays.com and teaching other people how to DIY, flip furniture, and all the fun creative things that I get to do on a daily basis. My husband and I, Matt is his name, got married. It will be 22 years in October. I don't even know. Just saying that number is crazy to me. And when we got married, and the next day we actually moved into our first home, and family and friends helped us move in. And then I was so excited to get started decorating our home. I was excited to make it our own. And so I had all these plans and all these things I was going to do. And as I started shopping for new furniture and paint and all those things, I found out quickly that there was no way our budget was going to allow me to decorate this home like I had seen in magazines and on TV and all of these dreams that I had of what this home was going to look like. There was no way our budget was going to allow me to do all those things. So it was super frustrating, but it also made I had to get creative. I had to figure out how to get those same looks that I wanted while staying on the tightest budget we've ever been on. As a newly married couple, I was just out of college, had my first job. Matt's job, he was like at an entry-level job, and we just did not have the budget to spend on doing all these things to our new home. And so through trying to figure out how to get the same look, the different things we wanted to do, I found inexpensive ways to get the same look. I should also preface this by saying when I met Matt, he did not know how to use a single tool. Not a single tool. I come from, my dad always worked in construction. He's always been a DIYer, and he's worked on homes of other people and done, built things and all that. So I've been around, my grandpa was an electrician. So I've been around people who have, know how to swing a hammer, work a drill. If something's broken, they know how to fix it. And so when I met Matt, and he had no idea how to do any of those things, he grew up and in a family where life was surrounded by sports. I mean, that's what they knew. And so I will never forget the one time when so in the beginning, my dad had to help us with so much. And one time my dad was over and Matt had to swing a hammer for something. And my dad said, he doesn't even know how to hold a hammer right. In my dad's world, right? This is just something that every man should know how to do. And so, through a bunch of my dad, to be completely honest, in the beginning, he had to help us through every project and any idea that, project that I wanted to do. My dad had to be there hands on in 100% of the way. And through that, Matt is where he is today. He knows how to do all the things, and anything I come up with now, he knows how to make it even better than what I thought. So practice and learning a lot does go a long way. But so that's really how we were able to get the look that we wanted and saving so much money doing it. So my dad would help us in that first home. He helped us with everything, literally from painting walls and teaching us how to do that to, bigger projects, building a deck or anything bigger like that my dad was there to help us. And then when we bought the house that we are in now, the projects, we bought it from the original owners. They had been here all their lives. They were downsizing to a condo. Our house is not big by any means, but it was all original. Shag carpet. It was built in the 60s, so all original 60s. But it was well maintained and well taken care of. So we knew the bones were excellent, but I got to come into another house where I wanted to put our stamp on it and make it more ours. with this second house, we were a little better. Like we could paint the walls by ourselves and, some of the smaller projects we could do. But I did want to do some built-ins in our family room, and that's a little more involved. So my dad did, all of that. We were with my dad the entire time, but it's not something that Matt could tackle on his own at that point. But through the different projects and then the way I was decorating, which was shopping thrift stores and yard sales and making over anything and everything I could that would give me the exact look I wanted, but on a dime. I was, paying next to nothing for furniture or wall art or, whatever it was. I was paying next to nothing. And then, with a little paint or elbow grease or whatever it was able to make it, very close to the inspiration piece I found or to the cool piece I saw in Restoration Hardware and just knew we couldn't afford. Or, I'm still doing that to this day. I love being creative in that way and finding amazing pieces on the cheap and then just making them over to look exactly how I want them to be. So fast forward a few years and we have made over every single room in our house to some capacity. Some were more involved than others. We added we added like a 3 seasons porch onto the back of our house. And as we were doing these projects and, people would come to our house and say, how much did you pay for that? Or they'd see how I decorated a space and they'd say, how much did that cost? Or where did you find that? And then when I would tell them how little it cost or how we had DIY'd that thing or how, I took this and that and made this, they couldn't believe it. So a lot of family and friends kept telling me, you have got to get your ideas out there. Well, back then, this was 8 years ago, maybe. I didn't know what that meant. What does it mean to get your ideas out there? I was excited if somebody came over and I could tell them about, the latest project we did or, how inexpensive I found something for. But to get my ideas out there, I didn't know what that meant. And then I ran into my first blog. Did not even know what a blog was. And it was actually a couponing blog. That's a whole nother story for a whole nother day because I could talk about couponing too. But it was actually a couponing blog, and I thought, well, she's sharing her ideas about, how to save money and, different deals and things. Maybe I could do this. I could start a blog and I could just kind of share with my family and friends what we're doing. And so I did it. I just jumped in with both feet, not knowing what I was doing. I got a free website. What was it back then? Was it Blogger or Blog? I can't remember what it was. It was a free website. And so I just started blogging. The problem back then was I was blogging like the couponing sites were doing. So it wasn't a detailed description of what I was doing. It was one photo and I kind of talked about a little blurb about it, which I've learned a lot. But that is how it all started. As I was doing this blog and I was learning more and more, and I was just working on it during nap times and then at night and weekends during the night and then weekends. And I fell in love with it. I fell in love with the process, creating something for our home or a project that we were already doing and then getting to write about it and getting to share what we had done. It was addicting to me. I really enjoyed it. And then I just started reading more blogs and finding more home decor blogs and people more in the niche that would resonate. That was more me. I was smitten. It was just so exciting. To be honest, it was a creative outlet for me. I was doing, at that time, I was home with our 2 kids, but by that time, friends had heard that I was staying home with our kids and then had asked if I'd watch their kids, which then led into a full-time in-home daycare that I was doing in our home. And to be honest, I've always worked with kids. Starting at age 11, I have always worked with kids in some capacity. I went to school for child psychology in college and then had my first job working with kids full-time after college. And so it's what I knew. I loved it. It was easy to me. And I just thought I would always work with kids in some capacity forever. And so during naps and weekends, I was writing on this blog about what we were doing in our home so family and friends could see it and read about it. And then, I'm sorry, I'm kind of skipping around, but I kind of left that part out. And then I started, finding more blogs, finding out more about what blogging is about, learning that I was doing it way wrong. And then I started getting more people read. It wasn't just my mom, right? Because I was super excited when my mom would call me and say, "Oh, I love what you did with this," or "Where you put this." And but then I started getting other people that I didn't know commenting or sending me a message. And so I thought, maybe this is a thing. Maybe I could help people do this. And then it just kind of spiraled from there, which it was so exciting, but I didn't know what to do. I was not expecting it. I didn't know this was like a real thing. I just thought it was some place, kind of like family and friends. I had no social media back then. So I wasn't, keeping up with family and friends on Facebook, or Instagram wasn't around then, but, I had a Pinterest account. So I would pin, the things that I loved, and that's all I had, but I didn't want a Facebook account. I didn't have any of that. And so this blog was a way for my friends and family to see what we were doing. So then I started getting more people watching, and then I had some companies reach out to me, and then I started learning that you could make an income from what I was doing. And I was like, what? So I just became a sponge. I was reading and doing everything and anything I could. I just put myself out there. I literally jumped in with both feet and if I didn't love it, I think it would have been a different story. I mean, I truly was loving like I said, the entire process. I really enjoyed it. So I wanted to learn as much as I could about it to make it really good, and to do the things that I could do on my own, where I didn't have to invest a ton of money in the beginning. But yeah, so that's how this all started. And then as I started the blog, and I was learning from other people that had come before me, they were telling me, you need a social media, you need a Facebook account, and when Instagram came on, you need an Instagram account. And I'm like, oh my goodness, what are you talking about? I just wanted to do this little blog, and be fine with that, and just grow this. But the social media has been so much fun for this business that I started, and it's really helped me grow and have so many other opportunities. And it's another thing, or another aspect of this thing that I started that I'm really passionate about and could talk for days and days about, because it's just from somebody that was kind of not against social media, but I just thought, what am I going to put on Facebook? I'm here watching kids all day, or, I'm not doing anything exciting. And so I don't really need a Facebook account. I talk to everybody that I want to, I'm texting with the family members and the friends that I'm close with. And so I just didn't feel like I needed social media. Social media for my business is a whole other thing. Still not active on any personal social media, but definitely active on the business side of things. And so it's just been a whirlwind adventure. It's been unbelievable to know where I started, just to get my quote unquote ideas out there, to now I am launching a new podcast. I have 5 amazing people that help me do all the things that we're trying to do, and to help as many people as we can. And we have got, as a family, it's changed our family in so many ways. I've been able to work with so many brands that I love, and it's just been amazing. And so I'm super excited to start this new venture. I'm just putting myself out there in the podcasting world. If I can inspire somebody or help somebody in any way with any of these things that I've gone through, I'm all about it. And so this was just another way for us to reach more people on a different platform and in a different way. So I'm super excited, and I'm so happy you're here. And yeah, let's just chit chat and keep the conversation going.